R.I.P.
All I know is this violates every canon of respectable broadcasting.
How are you?
Hey, who wants to help me get this recorder out of here? I need some muscle over here.
You are listening to Blame Your Brother.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody, to Blame Your Brother, episode 256. So excited to be with you tonight. Tonight, Mount Rushmore of War Movies in honor of Veterans Day. So we're looking very forward to doing that. That's going to be a great list with some great movies on it. War movies are always 2 thumbs up. So stick around for that. A lot of things to talk about tonight. Of course, celebrity death. We're going to talk a little Aaron Rodgers talk, Travis Scott, and Big Bird. So what a smorgasbord of topics. So stick around if you want.
You never think that those things would be on the same.
It's 2021, baby. Yeah. Anything's possible, right? So, but we stream the show every Thursday night, 8 p.m. We encourage you to come hang out with us on YouTube, youtube.com/blameyourbrother. Chat room's already filling up. We've got Firestorm, Robin, we got Doug, and people are just pouring in. So thank you guys for hanging out with us Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, youtube.com/blameyourbrother. And we are Blame Your Brother. I'm one half of this duo. I am David, a.k.a. D-Brew, voice of people, Glenn Jackson, spiritual midget, Mr. Wonderful, and this gentleman sitting over on my left, it is John.
Hey, everybody, John here, a.k.a. Tico, a.k.a. Mr. Groupon, Mr. PTI, never quiet on the Western Front, I already said Mr. PTI, didn't I?
Sure.
The Madman.
You can be multiple.
They got John Tortorella, a madman.
He's such a madman. He's got multiple.
It deserves being said
AKAs.
twice.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, David John, yes. So we will, we're going to get to all the topics here. But first off, we like to always look back, if we can, on last week's show. Last week we did the Mount Rushmore mustachioed characters. We knew people would chime in. We love it. We want them to chime in.
Yes.
We don't want
If there were only 8, because we do 4 each.
Right, yes.
If there were only 8, it wouldn't be fun.
Right. There's many. So our friend Trapper Haskins always likes to let us know where we made missteps. He said, how are you going to leave Yosemite Sam like that off the list? Damn, that's cold. I mean, I'm not disagreeing. If I could go back, I might have put him on the list. Just honestly.
Did he have like a goatee as well?
I mean,
because that's kind of why I left him.
I don't think so, bro. I think that was
just
handlebar mustache. I think. I don't. The mustache is more recognizable than if he had like a goatee or whatever.
I mean, if we were going full facial hair,
look,
I'd probably definitely put him on.
I will admit I should have put him on my list. We had Chris Greger, huge fan of the show, one of our favorites. Says I got to take Magnum PI at number 1. John, I admit I probably should have put Magnum PI at number 1, but anyway, he's got Magnum PI number 1, Yosemite Sam number 2. See, Wade Garrett. He said my wife's pick. I like how he referenced that. That is Sam Elliott in some role. And I feel like Sam Elliott, I wish I could have found a place for Sam Elliott, because if you were just going dudes, Sam Elliott's number 1. And then Kenny Powers from Eastbound and Down. So very interesting. I like that, And then Lynn Sparrow said the Frito Bandito, a little before your time. Yeah, I don't know who that is, but sounds like he had a great mustache. So
I mean, it sounds like the precursor to the Chester Cheetah.
Yes, for sure. So hey, man, there you go. We appreciate you guys coming in with the comments.
I mean, nobody said Captain Crunch, so maybe
that's true. So I mean, we messed up there, but always want people jumping in with that. So okay, well let's just jump into it. John, what's anything new this week with you?
I finally got my Christmas tree up, but that's it. Nothing else yet.
So what is too early for Christmas? Because this is that time of year where that discussion happens. What is too early for Christmas decorations?
To me, is once Halloween is over, it's fair game.
I mean, look, I told you last week, we have Christmas lights up only because we have guys come out, install them, right? Like I would never put them up. I just don't have the energy, patience, or the time to do it. And this is when they start doing it. Like I generally would not, truthfully, I would probably never put up Christmas decorations. So I'm already off to a bad start. But if I was a single dad, okay, or if I was a single man, I would never put up Christmas decorations. But if I was a single dad, and there we go, reconnecting successfully. That's live audio for you people. Yes, daylight saving time sucks. Who likes it? No one. I mean, it is one of those things where if they went out and they just took a poll and they're like, yo, who likes this? The majority of people are just like, no one likes it. The time in the afternoons seems to literally creep by. It's just insane to me, and I don't understand it. But I guess it's for the farmers. I still don't understand it. Like, I am a 44-year-old man, and I cannot understand it.
Be awake for more of the day that had daylight.
Right.
That's pretty much the only purpose.
I mean, we're past that, right? Like, are we not evolving as a society right now? Like, we need to just change things. I don't understand why things aren't getting changed more. It's a little bit insane to me. But yes, I was sitting tonight. Oh God, that was wild. We're having all kinds of fun issues here. I was sitting at home tonight, and from 5 to 6 normally time just. I'm serious, man. Before the time change, the time would just float by. I was like watching the clock, like, how long has it been? It feels like 2 hours. So you just got to get used to it. I mean, the time change brings about seasonal depression. We already know it. They've done studies. It brings about car accidents and things like that. I'm just like, I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of it at all. Most people aren't. But the unfortunate thing really to me is that Marsha Blackburn is also against it. You know, she's one of our conservative.
And the fact that you don't want to agree with her.
I don't want to agree with her. Yeah, she's one of our representatives. I'm like, I don't know. It's very unfortunate. So is what it is. But yes, that's where we're at. So I guess we can just start jumping into some news stories in. I didn't put up on the board here. I got to get your take on this. People's Sexiest Man of the Year. It's that time of year. So we're getting out. What is the People's Sexiest Man of the Year? Do you know who it is this year?
I know who it is.
Okay. It's Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
What? That's but I mean, that's been my thought for the last few years. I mean, I still think he's better than Blake Shelton.
Yes,
who
of
was,
course.
I believe last year.
Yes.
And actually when he won, I'm like, all right, we're just throwing people up.
Are we at this point now where we've already nominated, if we're just picking the sexiest man, Paul Rudd's not even the sexiest man in the Avengers movies. Like, if we were just saying, who's the sexiest person in Avengers movies, he's at the bottom of the list. I mean, you got Chris Hemsworth
wins. Let's be
Chris
honest.
Evans. You've got Downey Jr., if you want to say him. You have, who else is in those movies? People, to my opinion, the internet love Mark Ruffalo better than Paul Rudd as far as like sex appeal.
Yeah.
Not as look, there's a difference between sexiest man and the dude you want to hang out with.
Yeah.
Who do I want to hang out? Paul Rudd would be high on the list of dudes I want to hang out with. 100%, right? Like,
yeah.
I get that. But so has it become to the point where we're just picking like standard dudes? Like, oh, these are dudes you'd hang out with as sexiest man. Like, because I'm telling you, man, if you're a single lady in a neighborhood and you could date anybody in the neighborhood, and Paul Rudd's on one side, and Chris Hemsworth's on the other, and Chris Evans on the other side, and Leonardo DiCaprio's here, and Matthew McConaughey's here. I'm just picking like dudes, dude, Paul Rudd's last. Now, would he destroy us? Yes, 100%. But it's not sexiest of the common man. It's sexiest people alive. Yeah. And he is the sexiest person alive, according to this thing. And it's just like, no. Like I said, I love Paul Rudd, but no, this is absurd.
I mean, most movies that he's in, he's not even Avengers movies.
Yes. I mean, everyone in the chat's like, no, this dude is not the hottest dude in the land. We know this. It's crazy to me. But like you said, it is Blake Shelton last year. That's the biggest joke of all time. Yeah. And like I said, if you're on the same planet as Brad Pitt, Leo, name a couple of other dudes, do you just like The Rock? I mean, I'm not even naming I'm just right now tons of names are coming to mind.
Just like spitballing,
But it's all kind of thing like Michael Jordan, LeBron James should be MVP every year, right? I understand that. They don't win it every year because they obviously are the most valuable person on their team, without a doubt, okay? Yeah. When Michael Jordan was in the league, there was no one that was more valuable than him. If he's out, it's over. The season's over. I used to argue in football, Peyton Manning was so important to the Colts. He should have probably won every year. And, I'm just speaking honest. I love Tom Brady. I feel like Patriots might have won it, maybe one Super Bowl without him. the Colts were never going to win without him. So much, in fact, the year he got injured, they went 1-15, dude. Okay? So I said he should have won it that year. He was the most valuable dude. He just wasn't on the team. So I think I think now they're starting to put people on there because they understand social media is all about, we need people talking. Like if we give it to Leo, who cares? No one's going to talk about it. If we give it to Paul Rudd, these dudes on a podcast will be like, wait a minute, is he really the sexiest? So I get it. That's where we're at with information and news now. We're just like, oh, well, people shout about
create
it.
a buzz.
Yeah, well, people talk about it on social media, then let's do it. And it's like, all right, man. Anyway, I had to talk about that. But once again, much love to you, Paul Rudd. And he's having a good time with it. He's going on talk shows, having fun with it. And that's what you want, you know? So there's nothing wrong with that. All right, well, let's just get into a couple news stories. We talked about this briefly last week, but Aaron Rodgers is in the crosshairs now
and well deserved
of society. It found out he did not receive the vaccination.
After he continually insinuated.
Yes.
He never flat out said that he got the vaccine
for
COVID.
He said he was immunized, right? And so people took that to mean, well, I'm going to say it like it was. Someone asked him point blank, have you received the vaccine? He said, yes, I have been immunized. So that's a direct lie.
That's a lie.
And once again, like we said, misrepresenting the truth is a lie. Okay, like if you went to your kid and gone, have you picked up your room? And your kid's like, yeah. And you go up there and it's just a mess. And he goes, well, I picked up this one corner. That's a lie. That is an intent to deceive is what a lie is. Me and John have talked about lies.
Yeah.
We like to define what is, what Bill Clinton. I'm watching American Crime Story, and it's about Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton. It's a pretty good show. Bill Clinton lied. Like you can say, what's the definition of is? No, he lied, And so this dude lied. And look, why did he lie? I'm sure he didn't want to face backlash. I get it. But there's other quarterbacks in the league that have lied, that have not lied. It said, I'm not vaccinated. I don't want to get vaccinated. The NFL they've not said you have to get vaccinated, but a certain percentage of the team has to get vaccinated. So I feel that's really like a cop-out by the NFL. Like, well, we've never said everyone has to. I mean, I get that, but if 85% of the team's not vaccinated, they're going to start getting fined. That's kind of saying, like, anyway. So what I really found amusing about this was, number one, he never owns the lie. And that's a problem with me because I always say if you get caught in a lie, the best thing to do is just apologize, right? That's like that everyone knows, standard procedure, apologize. Just apologize. And then he goes on the Pat McAfee show and says that he has been getting medical advice from Joe Rogan. And John, that's really where we're at today. People are going to a podcaster who is a bit of a bonehead. I mean, truthfully, Joe Rogan's like a guy who works out.
If you were a host of a show called The Man Show, you should be not giving medical advice.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. Was he like the host after Corolla left?
When Corolla and Kimmel left, him and Doug Stanhope
That's
took
Doug
over.
Stanhope, okay. He was also the host of Fear Factor. He was on Newsweek. Is that the name of the show?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where he played a moron on Newsweek. And then
Big stretch.
Then
yeah.
he's a UFC commentator. And so he's just a dude that he's a meathead that I think got high a couple of times, right? He got very high. He hung out with some people with some far out theories, and now he thinks he's an intellectual. Like one of his good buddies that used to come on the show all the time was Alex Jones. I think that says enough. If you don't know who Alex Jones is, he's a nut job, And for him to say that out loud, like he's like, yeah, I become friends with Joe Rogan and, it's like, bro, just say, just to me, the easiest thing would have been like, I'm not vaccinated. He says he's allergic to it. Have you heard all this crazy stuff he was saying on Pat McAfee show?
If he was allergic to it, he would have led with that.
I would think so too, right? So he said that I don't know who, but him and some other people put together like this 100-page document of alternatives to vaccination. He gave it to the team doctor, and the team doctor was like, okay, this is cool. Like, what did he think they were going to do? Like, oh, problem solved. We're doctors, but you're an athlete. You got your advice from a podcaster. Solved, brother. It's done. Everyone, America, put down the vaccinations. Everyone, we can just immunization through, because he's one of these guys. He dated Danica Patrick for a while, and she was into the crystals, like crystal healing and all that. So he's big into the crystals, man. I'm into the crystals. Like, I get around someone there like that, bro, I'm backing off right now. Like, this is.
I mean, you know who else was into the crystals?
Who?
Andy.
Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, you see what happened to him. Yeah. He died,
Yeah.
I just don't. This guy, and this would be different, like I've said before, you've got all these people being like, oh, good job, Aaron Rodgers. Good, like Clay, I talked about last week, but Clay Travis is one of these people like, good job. And he just wrote an article today. I applaud your ability to come out and say this, but then at the same time.
Did he? He didn't come out and say anything.
No, he lied.
He got cornered and said something.
He caught COVID and had to sit out a game. That's how he got caught, dude. He didn't have a press conference and say, hey, man, I'm on this kick right now. He got caught in a lie. He's still not apologized to lie. And now, if he gets COVID again, they're going to get they've already gotten fined. They're going to get fined heavily. I don't know if he'll be able to. I don't know what the rules are. I think the NFL should have made a bigger example out of this because of the deception. Not because he wasn't vaccinated. Carson Wentz is not vaccinated. He wears a mask on the sideline. He wears a mask, whatever. Just be honest with it, dude. What did you have to lose? You are one of the faces of the NFL. They were not going to kick you out of the league. And everyone knows NFL, if you're a face, they'll let you slide. I always say if Colin Kaepernick was Tom Brady, he would still be in the league, 100%. Yeah. If you're bringing in revenue, they'll keep you.
I'm just saying, look at everything that happened with Adrian Peterson.
True. I mean, beat the hell out of his kid with an extension cord, and now he's a Tennessee Titan and still playing today. So, if you're good enough, they'll sign you. But the deception and this is what comes down to me: the inability to say I lied, like Bill Clinton's never apologized. You lied, sir. Accountability. There's got to be some accountability. Look, this is the thing that I hate about cancel culture. And I know I hate saying that because, Republicans say, oh, no more cancel culture. No. Cancel culture is just, in some instances, it fits the bill, and sometimes it's way too extreme. But everyone's going to make mistakes in life. The ability, I tell this to my kids, I tell this to anyone. Once you make a mistake, you have to be accountable for it. You have to step up to people and go, I apologize. I messed up. I'm going to try not to do it again. And that's my problem with him. There's no accountability whatsoever. And that bothers me. So speaking of accountability, man, do you know who Travis Scott is, right?
Yeah.
A rapper, dating one of the Kardashians or the Jenners or whatever they're called. So he has a concert called Astroworld, which is one of his albums called Astroworld. Okay, so there was a big event here. He had a concert. 9 people now are dead from it. And so it says this is just from Marco, rapper Travis Scott should have halted a show in Houston, which saw a deadly crowd surge when he noticed people in trouble. The city's fire chief says this now. He says everyone at that event had a responsibility from the artist on down. So at the time I saved this article, which was 2 days ago, 8 people. Now it's 9. Another person died. 9 people were killed and hundreds more injured in a crush at the Astroworld concert in Texas. The artist said he was devastated, quote unquote, by the incident and was working to help victims' families. His partner and media personality Kylie Jenner said they only learned there were fatalities after the event. We'll get to that in a second. Among those injured is a 9-year-old boy said to be fighting for his life. And I don't think he was the one that passed away today. But anyways, police said the victims were crushed in a surge of fans near the stage around 9:30 local time. He continued to perform for almost 40 minutes longer, eventually ending the set about 15 to 30 minutes ahead of time. In footage from the concert, he can be seen interrupting his performance to ask for help for a fan who had passed out. But in another video, he asked, "Who asked you to stop? Y'all know what y'all came to do. Chase me. Let's go." So we're not going to stop the show. I want you to get more hype. At one point, there was an ambulance that was trying to make its way through the crowd. He should just, obviously, you got to shut the show down. I believe Drake was there, too, so I believe both of them are being sued. he come out with some phony Instagram video where, once again, he never really apologized. He was just like, my fans really mean the world to me. I wish I could make it better, blah, 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 but no apology. Maybe that's got something to do with being sued if he admits it. But several concert goers had to be revived with anti-drug overdose medicine, including a security officer, blah, blah, blah. So this man, and we've already seen this before in the past at Woodstock 99, where a crowd becomes unruly.
Yeah.
And artists are on the stage.
I think way even before that, in the early 80s, I think it was an AC/DC concert.
Really? And so what happens, I've seen the science of it, is people just start so the gates got knocked down at this concert and people were able to come in. I believe he said bring them on in, which is a big problem. And so the crowd starts surging and they're pushing forward, and then you start getting trampled. And once you're on the ground, I've read you
can't get up.
You're done. You know, you hope someone pulls you up, but if they pull you up, they're in danger of falling down. And an artist, I've seen clips of Foo Fighters, massive band, massive crowds, right? They stopped the show because one guy was fighting another person.
Yeah.
I've seen other artists literally go, Adele was another one. It's like, yo, no, you're not acting like that. Get out of here. Adele, major artist, dude. This guy looked down at the crowd, obviously saw there was bad things happening, and just said, let's go, let's get hype. And this is just this is every nightmare that a parent or friend has to have of a concert, right? Like, your child's like, yo, can I go to a concert? And you're like, sure, let's go. And then you hear about this news, your heart has to sink.
Yeah.
The artist, the management, the security, their responsibility at the end of the day is to make sure everyone leaves the concert safe, right? That's pretty much it. The artist does have some responsibility to entertain the crowd, but they have a responsibility to keep those people safe, whether it's 50,000, 150,000, and you've seen Foo Fighters play for Wembley, 150, 200,000 people. You don't hear stories about this.
Yeah.
So what does it speak to? Does it speak to the mentality of the artist, the mentality of the fans that come out? I mean,
it's also, you gotta look at the management of the concert site.
Right.
If those gates came down, then management should have been able to. They should have done something.
Right. And so I said, the comparison to Woodstock 99 is that Limp Bizkit was on stage, saw stuff was going down, and they decided, and people have debated how realistic this was, but I think it's pretty well chronicled, that they decided in that moment to play the song Break Stuff. Now, does the artist at that point have an obligation to... I would say yes, but I'm looking at it from my perspective. If I was, in that situation, maybe, I don't know. But what do you think about? I mean, can this be stopped? I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. It's troublesome. 9 people are dead, and these are young people that spent their money to go see this guy. And look, I know people do drugs at concerts. I get it. I'm not stupid. Like, we all know there's a lot of drinking that goes on, but this goes over the edge of that. And if you said 8 people had died from drug overdoses, I feel like people would have had a huge problem with that. Like, oh my God, the youth are doing drugs, but 8 people are basically trampled to death. And I mean, this has been talked about, but I just don't know what to say. I don't know much about Travis Scott. Truthfully, I know, like I say, mostly I know about him from the Jenners and things like that. So that's my basis of knowledge for the man. But it's just a tragic situation, and I would just say, if you go to a concert and there's like 50,000 people there and no one wants to hear this, but we're older, probably wiser, I would not go anywhere near the front of that crowd.
Yeah.
As a young man, would I go to fronts of crowds? Yes, I was. And I look back, and that could have been tragic at some. I went to a Korn concert and was on the front row looking at the band. And luckily nothing happened, but it was intense, man. And if anything would have went down, I probably would have just been toast.
Well, I mean, especially that style of music with the,
right. Which I think Travis Scott's kind of like a Korn in the rap thing. He's not like cool rap. He's kind of like hard rap, like the dudes get up, people are jumping, people are having a good time. I just think it's a tragedy. He will be sued into the ground for this. Will criminal charges happen? That's going to be hard to really prove, I would say. I mean, could he be charged something like? He's not going to be charged with death, I wouldn't say, but he will.
For like civil court, yeah, he could be charged for something.
Oh, they're paying out the wazoo.
Yeah.
Like, But once again, we go back to Aaron Rodgers. Dude, apologize, man. Stop with this half-ass apology. Like, oh, man, my fans mean everything to me. No, just go, look, I'm sorry this happened. I'm sorry, people. I'm very sorry this happened in my concert. Like, I can't take this back. Like, show some emotion, dude. The dude just I've seen the video. He's like walking around his house, just like it's just asinine. Oh man, it just drives me crazy that these people, and like I said, maybe they're being told by the lawyers not to apologize. I don't know. I've never been in that situation, but I would have. There was a situation this week where Dave Portnoy, who is the founder of Barstool Sports, a piece was written about him in Business Insider alleging. It didn't really allege, but it talked about his sexual history and how he was rough with girls and kind of implied like it wasn't allowed. And the first thing he did when that story came out, and he knew it was coming, he said they've been digging for 8 months. He came out and made a 10-minute video. And first thing he said, this is not true. I'm telling you right now it's not true. And I will be suing these people for this. So that's what you got to do. I feel if you didn't do it, then what do you have to hide for? So that was bad news this week. And then, of course, Big Bird. Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? Now, if you had on your bingo card for the year 2021, conservatives upset at Big Bird, I wouldn't have taken that card, right? I'd been, give me another card. Give me something with Trump on it. So if you didn't know, Big Bird, this is the headline. Big Bird is a communist. Muppet vaccination draws backlash from Republicans and conservatives. Big Bird is a communist. I love that. That's got to be a T-shirt. Someone make that shirt. I will wear it. So this headline literally starts off with fictional Sesame Street character Big Bird's announcement Saturday, fictional, that he has received the COVID-19 vaccine drew swift backlash from hard-right Republicans such as Ted Cruz. So vaccinations for U.S. children between 5 and 11 began this week with the Pfizer vaccine. Okay, Sesame Street, which has previously launched vaccine ad campaigns dating back, I'm reading this is not an article, dating back to the 70s, okay, deployed two of its most popular characters to encourage parents to vaccinate their children. The tweet, or whatever it was, said, I got the COVID-19 vaccine today. My wing is feeling a little sore, but I'll give my body an extra protective boost that keeps me and others healthy. Tweeted Big Bird. I love this article. It's so funny. A walking, talking yellow Big Bird character who's supposed to be 6 years old. So then here comes Ted Cruz. Government propaganda for your 5-year-old Ted Cruz. Arizona State Senator Wendy Rodgers, a pro-Trump Republican, what a sentence, tweeted, Big Bird is a communist. I love that tweet. Get that. Tennessee Republican congressional candidate Robbie Starbuck, what a name, suggested that Big Bird could die from the vaccine. He tweeted or wrote 7 days later, big blood clot bird is served. As liberals praised the show, conservatives called it twisted and brainwashing of children. So what do you...
First of all, the term communist...
Go ahead.
...is solely economical.
Yeah.
Right? It's an economic term.
Yes,
what does getting a vaccine have anything to do with economics?
The conservatives love to throw out communist. Never properly used ever. They hearken it back, to my opinion. They hearken it back to the Cold War.
McCarthy era.
Yes, the Cold War era, where it's like, oh, we live in a country where at a point, like you just said, I mean, there was a time where if you were labeled, if you were labeled a communist, if you had a conversation with a communist,
if someone thought you were a communist, you couldn't sit at the bar at the restaurant.
You were blackballed from. Like Hollywood was one of the big ones. You would not act.
I mean, there's movies and lots of, there's a lot of stuff that goes back behind that.
Think about that. That's why people are like, this is the worst period of American history with Trump. And trust me, a Trump era was bad. Brother, that's not even in the top 5 probably, honestly. I mean, we're a country where slavery existed, so that's got to be at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Number 2, You've got American Indians were slaughtered. That's got to be up in the top. Maybe Trump does make the top. I don't know. But the point is, there's a lot of bad moments in American history, right? I mean, we can look through and there's some bad ones. I mean, internment camps would be obviously up there. But the point is, they just they know people have a negative association with communists because of the history of it.
Yeah.
And so they like to throw that out. Number one, Big Bird's not a real person. I mean, as the article clearly stated multiple times, just for idiots that would read it, Big Bird is literally a fake thing. He is a created character on a show. And if you literally watched Sesame Street ever and you didn't think it had a little bit of a hippy dippy kind of vibe to it, which whatever, whether you like that or not, you're a fool. Yeah. It's obviously about peace and love and getting together. It's not about making money, or it's not about, Ayn Rand type of ideas of Big Bird would never screw over his fellow Muppets to make it in the world, right? He would sacrifice himself if it meant saving Snuffleupagus. That's the whole point of the show.
Yeah.
And the fact that these people are so mad about this, it literally makes me happy. I think their hatred makes me happy for it, because they are just like Ted Cruz is against the vaccine whatsoever. So obviously, look, and I've said before, and whatever your thoughts are, getting your child vaccinated is a big choice to think about. And I understand that, okay? If there's a 1% chance your child, something could happen to them, you have a decision to make. Yeah. And look, I understand it. I'm not here to crucify you for that. I've said that from the beginning. You as an adult, do what you got to do. I would prefer you get vaccinated. To me, making decisions about myself is a lot easier than making decisions about my children. I understand that, but Sesame Street wants to make kids calm if they want to go get it, or if their parents they have a conversation, or they tell them to go get it. It'd be nice if they're calm when they go get the shot, not listening to Fox News or OAN telling you that you're going to die in 7 days if you get the shot. This is bad rhetoric for the country.
I mean, these people need to think about what the repercussions are of what they're saying and doing. What if you have a kid out there that is immune compromised, that this shot will be very, very good for this kid?
Right.
I mean, the last thing you want the kid to do is be hysterical when he's trying to get the shot.
100%.
But with these characters that he's grown to trust, if they can do it, then that's something that's a leverage that the parents can use to help the kid feel more comfortable about doing it.
Right. It's just, dude, it really, this is what you guys are focusing on. Like, this is what I'm saying
and
about.
The thing is, let's say Big Bird might have been a real person. How many famous people run their own Twitter account?
That's true, right? I mean, yeah, there's celebrities that have come out that I'm sure children love, and I've never heard them mention that. Big Bird, man. Big Bird is a communist. That is great. That is the year 2021 summed up perfectly right there. Well, okay. Last thing we'll get to is we had a R.I.P. this week. If you guys watched the show Quantum Leap, which me and John love that show very much, Dean Stockwell passed away at 85 this week. Maybe yesterday or the day before, but anyway, he passed away at 85. What I've heard from just reading about it, obviously, I mean, I really only know him from.
I mean, Quantum Leap's the big. If you're a child of the 80s/90s, that's where you know him from.
Yeah, so that's where we know him from. But reading about it, he apparently was the nicest guy in Hollywood. People loved this guy, like very much so. I didn't read a negative thing. Even when someone. Like when Clint Eastwood passes away, which, could happen tomorrow or it could be 10 years, but he's not over 90. There's going to be some criticism from some sides of the aisle, right? I mean, people are going to go this or that, instead of respecting the man's work and removing politics. That's just the nature of people. I read a lot about this guy today because I was trying to see what else was this guy in? What has he done? I know he was in CSI New Orleans. I think he was in some other shows, but Quantum Leap defined this guy.
Yeah.
And the first couple hours were nicest guy, would wanted to do interviews, was the opposite of kind of his sarcastic type character on Quantum Leap. And, so I don't really have much to say about him. I mean, like I say, epic for that show. I think he was also in Babylon 5 or Starfleet or one of those shows.
He was in the 80s version of Dune. which oddly enough, Dune just came out, and
Yeah. Timothy Chalamet.
yeah,
Have you watched that?
I haven't yet.
Are you going to?
I don't know. It's not on the top of my list.
What will you watch first, that or Eternals?
Oh, Eternals.
Okay. Just curious. I've heard, once again,
I've heard bad things about Eternals.
the mixed bag, you know. I've listened to one podcast, they said it's all right, but at this point,
I mean, with Marvel, what is all right?
right, all right's not good enough. I mean, that's
Yeah.
like saying Jordan had an all right game. Like, okay, well, we need Michael Jordan to have a great game. We don't need all right games, but yeah. All right, well, rest in peace, Mr. Stockwell. Go back and if you've never watched Quantum Leap, which Doug says you've told him to watch it, it is a fantastic
It's a great
series.
show.
It's an all-time series. All time. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a show you can watch anytime. If it's on, you can just start watching it, and it's fantastic. If you don't know what it is, a guy basically leaps back into people in their body. The concept's a little absurd. But anyway, he leaps back in time.
It takes the person's place, basically.
He is the person.
Yeah, and he has to fix something. There's something wrong, and he fixes it. And once he fixes it, then he could move on. And he's hoping he can go back to his own time.
Right. But he starts to suffer like memory loss, so he doesn't like know like about his past, which that's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah.
But the idea that it's always him. Like, if I jumped into, hypothetically, calmly, I'm going to jump into John's body. Now I'm taller than John. In this show, I'm you though. And I'm like, wait a minute. No, that doesn't work. And they tried to half explain it one time. And I was like, I don't know, man. Anyway, look, every show's got areas you could pick apart. It's a good show. It's a funny show. Some of the episodes later on seasons were a little bit corny. The JFK stuff was stupid, man. I know people like the JFK stuff. And then when he was a woman giving birth, I was like, all right, bro. Nah, I'm out. The ending episode's wild too. But anyway, Quantum Leap, Stockwell, go check it out. All right, well, let's get into it. You know, it's Veterans Day. I do want to say happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. I'm sure I've had family serve. I'm sure John's had family serve. My cousin is still with us, younger than me, served in the military. My grandfather, people serve. And thank God for them. They served in times where you didn't really, like, I compared to the vaccine. You didn't ask a lot of questions. You said, I need to serve, then I'm going to go serve. I need to go over to fight in Normandy. I need to go fight Nazis. I'm going to go do it. Today, that's not going to happen. So the veterans thing, God bless you, because you're doing things that people wouldn't want to do. And we could get into further conversations, but, happy Veterans Day. God bless all of you. But we're here to talk about the Mount Rushmore of war movies. Now, war movies are generally, even the bad ones are watchable. I can't really think of a lot of really bad ones offhand. So we looked and we decided we're going to put together Mount Rushmore of war movies. So, John, what were you looking for going into this list?
There's a lot of aspects you can go with it. I went with the fact that it's a movie. There's got to be an entertainment level to it.
Okay.
If I wanted like 100% accuracy, I'd watch a documentary.
Yeah, that's true.
And so there's got to be a level of entertainment. It's got to be set during wartime, and it's got to feature, war scenes. It can't just be a movie that takes place during the war. Like I would exempt like Schindler's List. I would.
Yes, because I saw Schindler's List on many lists. I went, that's not really about war. It's definitely about the effects of war. But I'm looking for, I need battle.
Yeah.
Like the whole movie doesn't have to be battle, but there's got to be some good battle war scenes in it, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, all right. Well, John goes first this week, and so we're looking at all the movies, history. So, John,
I also attempted. And it really picked whether or not.
Of course.
But I tried to draw just one movie from a different war.
Me too.
So
let's see how
that's what I'm going to try to do. But if that doesn't happen, I'm going to blame my brother.
Well, I'm definitely doing that, and I think my list will be phenomenal because I have movies from each war, multiple ones. I think maybe one war is kind of hard, but we'll talk about that. All right, what's your first movie then?
First movie. Full Metal Jacket.
There you go. I'm wearing the shirt. It's a great movie set in the Vietnam
War, which, we talked about this earlier. We could really do a list of just Vietnam War
Yeah,
movies.
it is the best. I mean, even a movie like Forrest Gump, which is kind of a comedy drama, war scenes were really good. Like,
Yeah.
it was a really good representation of kind of what war was. It was crazy. So, yeah, so directed by Stanley Kubrick, the beginning of the movie is better than the second half of the movie. So the beginning of the movie is boot camp.
Yeah, boot camp.
If it was just boot camp, it really wouldn't be eligible for the award, right?
No.
But the second half is really good as well, truthfully. It is a really dark look at war. And you follow Private Joker, who is one of my favorite characters in the movie ever. Love that guy.
Yeah.
Just the atrocities of war, how bad people are, how we are kind of animals at heart is kind of was like a through line through the movie. And so, yeah, I think it's a really good pick. I mean, it's
highly quotable. There's a lot of lines in that movie that are in other movies that people draw from, and I mean, they did it first. So
yeah, it's fantastic. Good choice. I definitely would have had it on my list if you didn't grab it. So, okay, so John's number one is Full Metal Jacket. I'm going with what I thought was look. I love that movie.
probably guess which one you're gonna say.
But you gotta say Saving Private Ryan. It is, man, that opening of that movie. And I don't mean like the very open, but when you first go into Normandy and the shots of those people getting on that beach is insane. Like I can put myself in Full Metal Jacket. And I'm like, I probably could have made it through boot camp. I mean, I know I would have made it through boot camp. I look at those shots of that Normandy beach. I went, I don't know what I would have done.
That's not me.
Were literally just dying. Like they were getting murdered left and right.
And you've got to, I mean, there's got to be at some level in your mindset going, I'm just going to run up here and die.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be. I mean, bullets were killing them while they were in the boat waiting to get on the beach. Then you got on the beach and you were going to get flamethrowed. You were going to get shot by a sniper. Insane. And these were young men, 18-year-old men doing this, I mean, obviously the ages went up, but these were young men. I think the story's great. It follows a lot of action. They're obviously looking for one. And, you always heard the thing that if you are the last of your lineage in a war, they try to get you out. And so they're looking for a Private Ryan who
his brothers all
passed away. And so, and Tom Hanks, just phenomenal. Just, I mean, look, I know he got a role for Forrest Gump. I've never seen it. I don't want to give everything away, but just.
There is a story where Matt Damon's talking about his brothers, and it's a silly story, but they said that he made up that story on the spot.
Oh, really? Yeah. So Matt Damon's great. It's got a lot of great actors, and it's got a lot of war scenes in it, and it is horrific. I mean, there are some horrific war scenes, like fighting Nazis.
The characters are very, very well done, too.
Yeah, so it was fantastic. So, okay, so that is my number one. So, John, what you got at number two?
I'm going to grab it. My number two, I think it's a fairly safe bet. I don't think you're going to the Civil War, so I will.
No, I actually did not have any from the Civil
War. And I am going with Glory.
Oh, look
Glory
at that. Okay.
On paper.
Okay, there you go.
You see some of the names, and some of them you're like not surprised. I mean, Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman. They couldn't do any harm whatsoever. But you're telling me Matthew Broderick is in a war movie?
Yeah, it's odd.
As a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a what? And no, it's a really good movie. And there's a lot of aspects of the way war was conducted back then that you learn from things. I'm a big Patriot type of person. I love the Star Spangled Banner. I love the song. And a lot of people, I was talking to somebody one time and they were talking about the national anthem and how they didn't like it. And it's just about the flag, blah, blah, blah. And if you watch near the end of the movie, Glory, the object is there's a standard bearer. That's the person that's carrying the flag.
Right.
And they're at the front. And when they die, someone has to run and pick up the flag.
Which is crazy.
And the purpose of this is if you can see the flag, you know where the front of the line is. And if you can't see the bad guys, you just shoot beyond the flag.
Right.
That's the point of it. When you do not see the flag anymore, the battle's over.
You're in trouble.
You're done.
Yeah, right.
And the object, the point of the song, is just that.
Mm-hmm.
We can still see the flag, and as long as it's still waving, we're still fighting.
All right.
And so I didn't know that until I saw that movie.
All right.
And so for
history
that
lesson.
alone, I love the movie. But I mean, like I said, the cast is phenomenal, and the story behind it. It's the first all black regiment for the Civil War, and so some of these people were already free. Some of them are fighting for their freedom.
Crazy.
And so it's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to see it.
There you go. I did not have a Civil War, so I'm glad you got that on there. Okay, let me look over my list. I'm just going to go with best, if you happen to grab one. So, we got World War II, got the Civil War, we got the Vietnam War. There's a period in American history where the wars were kind of not really titled anymore. There's wars that were happening. What is a war, I guess? If America is in a country for many years fighting battles, it's got to be a war, right? I don't know, what is a war when you declare it? Is it an act of war? I don't know, but this is definitely a war movie. Black Hawk Down is I don't know if you've seen this one.
Somalia, yeah.
Yeah, Somalia War.
Let's give that a war.
It's the Civil War in Somalia, which America apparently was in for like a long ass time. If you went down and you talked to the average Joe on the streets, I don't think they would know that, right? We're in a lot of places, but I don't know if you guys have seen Black Hawk Down, but holy crap. You thought somebody in the chat said Saving Private Ryan was intense. This is one of the most intense war movies you will ever see in your life. The level of realism in this movie it's insane. If someone told me like, yo, this was actual footage, if I did not know the actors in it, I'd be like, yeah, I can see that. I think it was Ridley Scott maybe that directed it. I may be wrong on that. If someone is, correct me, but it feels like a Ridley Scott movie. The action, the camera's shaking. There's people getting like shot. They're dragging people through the streets. They're getting shot at. Basically, the copter, it's Black Hawk Down. The helicopter goes down, and they're in the middle of this town, and they are screwed, man. Yeah. And if you're just looking for something that sometimes you need that movie, it's going to make you grab the edge of your seats the entire movie, because you don't know in this movie. The joy of war movies is anyone could die. You watch a Marvel movie, Captain America is not dying.
Yeah, there's some people when you're watching a movie, he's not going to die.
You watch Glory, Full Metal Jacket, even Saving Private Ryan, anything's on the table. Black Hawk Down it has Ewan McGregor in it, not a big star. It's got Josh Hart in it, not really big star. These are not big stars in this movie. Any of these dudes could die at any point. And a lot of them do die. So it's based on a true story, just like Glory was. Were the other two based? Full Metal Jacket is loosely based in reality. It may not be an actual story. Is Saving Private Ryan a true story, or is it written for the screen?
I don't know.
Point is, it could be. It could be real, it could not. But Black Hawk Down, if you've never seen it, it's up there. It's a great war movie, so that's my number 2. All right, you're up for 3, John. What you got?
All right, I'm worried about you taking this one, so
okay.
I am going to go with The Hurt Locker.
It's a good movie. I had it. Probably was going to be an also-ran, but yeah, Hurt Locker is a phenomenal movie. Set in the...
For the, modern times.
Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
Whatever you call it. Desert Storm, Desert Shield. I don't know that's what I'm saying. What's the name for this skirmish that we've been in since the 90s, man? We've been over in the Middle East and we just got out.
Yeah.
We literally just got out, man. So it's been forever. Yeah. Hurt Locker is a phenomenal movie. What do you want to say about it?
Jeremy Renner is pretty much the Star Wars of it. There's just certain aspects of it. I couldn't imagine having his job. He disarms bombs and the scene. I guess it's the most popular scene. He's taking all this gear off before he's about to do these bombs, and the guys are like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, if I'm gonna die, at least want to be comfortable."
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that stuff's, you're wearing all this stuff, and in your heart of hearts, that's not going to save you.
No, not at all.
And so, just going into this mindset, like, okay, when it comes down to anything, you got a 50-50 chance.
Maybe less than that, truthfully.
And you're going to die, you're not.
Yeah, right.
And so, going into that is, phenomenally scary.
Oh God, I mean that's another one where.
And then for you to have the mindset to be like, well, I'm gonna die anyway, to vocalize it.
Yeah,
in such a way is just like.
So what's great about Hurt Locker? It's got some great scenes in it, but it's really it's so much as Full Metal Jacket kind of looks at the psychology of war and how we're, people become bad, and it's a theme to a lot of war movies. This really examines how mentally screwed up soldiers are. I mean, how
they have to be,
how insane you have to be to do this. I mean, you are an EOD. You are explosive ordnance disposal, meaning you are the only thing in between the soldiers behind you getting blown to smithereens, and if you step on the wrong line, you're dead.
Yeah.
It really brought Jeremy Renner into the national conversation of acting. This is the movie I remember going, oh, this guy can act. I mean, and there's some great scenes. I don't want to give it away if you've never seen it, but there's some great scenes at the end that just how he reacts when he gets home, how he deals with his family and things like that are really good. So yeah, it's a good choice. I definitely have it on my list. Hurt Locker. All right, I'm gonna grab my Vietnam movie, and if I can, Full Metal Jacket, which I would have picked as my Vietnam slot, but I've got to go with just another movie with great quotes. Just a batshit crazy movie, dude. Apocalypse Now. It is insane. Like, it literally took me in my life 2 or 3 tries to get to the end of this movie. It is so...
Oh, it's wackadoo.
It's so much going on in it. I mean, I love the smell of napalm in the morning, if you ever heard that before. Flight of the Valkyries. Charlie Don't Surf, dude. There's so many great... And so basically it's this guy who is Martin Sheen, who at the beginning of the movie is literally trying to kill himself. Like, he's attempting suicide. He fails. He goes on a mission to find this Colonel Kurtz, who has
pretty much labeled himself a king.
Yeah, he's gone off the deep end.
Yeah.
Played by Marlon Brando. He is Marlon Brando. I mean, when you meet him, you're like, oh, this dude in real life is crazy. Like that. Not this character. This actor is insane, which probably was true. It's got, like I said, it's got some great him going through, just meeting all these crazy characters, and his goal is to get to this thing, and then the end is just I don't want to give up. If you've never seen Apocalypse Now, sit down, carve out about 3 hours, which I think it's close to 3 hours. The director's cut may be over 3 hours long, and even there's documentaries about them just trying to make this movie.
Yeah.
So Tropic Thunder is pretty much a parody of this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, 100%. They're over budget all the time. No one thought this movie was going to be made. And I just think if you're ready for some great acting, Martin Sheen's phenomenal. Marlon Brando. It's got a young, I believe Lawrence Fishburne is it. It's got
Duvall.
Yeah, it's got so many people in it. It's fantastic, and it is a great snapshot. Like you said, Vietnam War is the best war because it is insane. I mean, it was the time where no one wanted to be there.
Yeah, and it's there's so much. I hate to use the word fire about that war because there's so many people against it. So many people.
Yeah.
It was so much political as it was bullets and ammo,
Right, yeah. So, I mean, that one edged out, because I don't think you're doing a Vietnam War movie, but if you were, it was either this one or Platoon.
Platoon's up there, too.
I've watched Platoon recently. I just think Apocalypse Now captures more of the darkness of the war, but Platoon that's another great movie. Yeah. Anyway. All right, that's my number 3. What you closing out with, John? What's your number 4?
My 4th one is probably definitely my... It's as far as movies go, classical movies. It's on the low run.
Okay.
But as far as entertainment and heartstrings value, that's what the movie's going for.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna say The Patriot.
Oh, okay. And which war is this now?
This is the Revolutionary War.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah. Heath Ledger plays one of his sons. The movie is apparently, Mel Gibson's character was a war hero from the French and Indian War.
Yeah.
That the British had pretty much depended on over and over and over again, and he just wants to live his life. He wants to protect his family.
Man. Yeah.
But then the fit hits the shan, and he's like, "Well, I mean, if you're not going to play the game by my rules, then."
I saw this at theater when it came out.
We actually saw
We
this
saw it
together.
together. I don't remember much about it. I remember Mel Gibson's in it. I remember he was overacting. I remember Heath Ledger was in it. He was overacting, but I don't remember much about it other than that. I don't remember. I couldn't tell you a thing that happens in it.
There's a few things that I took away from it. Even he's got several sons in the movie. Heath Ledger just has to be the oldest one. He has some younger ones that, the guns that they're carrying are bigger than they are.
Yeah.
And there's these British soldiers that are trying to find them, and he has them hide, and he tells them, look, don't shoot until you got the shot, and he tells them, aim small, miss small. Okay. And I just always thought that was just really good. I mean, not just for marksmanship, but like a good life lesson.
There you go.
The more you narrow what you're looking for, I mean, if you miss by the same gradual amount, then you're more likely to hit it if you really tone in on your target.
That's true. All right, so that's it, Patriot. Okay, I'm gonna wrap. I saw your list just now, and I was like, dude, if he picks my last movie, I didn't know what I was gonna do. So I'm glad you didn't pick. I needed a World War I movie. There's not a lot of great World War I movies.
Did you go in 1917?
You got to go 1917.
Yeah.
This movie is badass. If you've never seen 1917, the idea is that there are no cuts in this movie. You're with this character the entire movie. And the thing I like about World War I is it's a wild war. There were tanks, there were horses, there were swords, there were guns. This was like a weird war.
Yeah.
Like you could literally look over, there's a tank and there's people on horse. Like you're like, what? Like what? 1914, right? I mean, the country was still not really industrialized enough, so there was still like everything goes, man. And this story is so good. There are some action scenes that I will never forget in this movie. And just the struggle of this guy. This guy has to basically get to another group to warn them of an ambush that's about to take place. And it's him and another guy, and just their struggle to get there. Just go watch the trailer because it's a great shot of him just running across this field of a battle that's actually happening. And he's not worried about the battle. He's worried about getting to the commander of this army and being like, hey, man, you're about to get murdered out here. Like they've set you up for some bad things. And like I said, riveting movie. It will keep you entertained the entire time. I thought great. It just came out about 2 or 3 years ago, and it is fantastic. So
it took a lot of technology to get it out there because of I've heard, and I don't know how accurate this is, but they've tried to take stock footage.
Oh, really?
For some of the background.
Okay.
And I know there's some of the scenes, like particularly the one that it shows him running.
Amazing.
You can almost tell.
Well, so what's great about the scene, if you watch it, he runs and a guy runs into him and knocks him down. Reading about it, that was an extra that literally ran into him accidentally, and they just said, keep it going. We're not stopping. So if you get knocked down, dude, you better get back up and keep going. So when he gets knocked down, that scene, you can see he's like, oh no, I got it. So phenomenal.
It increases the anxiousness of it.
And so he falls a few times that weren't scripted, like Doug says in the chat. The ending, fantastic. So yes, let me go over the list. Here we go. So war movies, John had Full Metal Jacket, Glory, Hurt Locker, and The Patriot. I had Saving Private Ryan, Black Hawk Down, Apocalypse Now, and 1917. Those are our Mount Rushmore of war movies. We will be putting that on social media, so let us know what you think about them. I know we'll get some people going, you didn't have Platoon. Okay, what else did I not have on the list?
There's a few.
Dunkirk I thought was really good, but it's probably a little bit too heady, but it's one of the better World War II movies I've seen. Platoon, obviously. Deer Hunter. That's some crazy war scenes. But that's more of a POW experience, but still it's crazy. Hurt Locker and, Full Metal Jacket. I only listed about 8 or 9. I can list 100.
Yeah, Dunkirk, Hacksaw Ridge, Unbreakable, Quiet on the Eastern Front, Das Boot.
Das Boot. I can't watch 3 hours of that. I'm sorry. I've heard about. I can't, John. I can't.
One that kept coming up on the list, but that I've in all my research was one called Come and See. which is just super intense from World War II.
Yeah.
There's another. We had Stanley Kubrick with the Full Metal Jacket. There's another one of his about World War One. Yeah, just a lot of
great ones out there.
Yeah.
So you can watch war movies all day and have a good time. So there we go. Put that out. Let us know what you think. And we've come up to the end of the show. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned a thing. You learned Big Bird was a communist. If nothing else out of the entire episode,
yellow. It should be red.
we should have a Big Bird World War II, like Cold War, or a Cold War Big Bird movie. That would be fantastic. Big Bird trying to just sneak into America and just destroy America with the children. You know, how have conservatives not made that movie, actually? How have they not? They could literally...
I can only sound German or like I'm 6. What will I do?
They can make a movie, honestly. A Big Bird character. They could not... Obviously, he couldn't be yellow, but he could be like an off yellow. They could literally have him murdered on screen, and they would love that. How are they not making it? I heard all the conservatives in town have like a film company, Ben Shapiro and all them. The chick from Star Wars that got kicked off. What's her name? The fighter. What's her name?
Gina
Carano.
Yeah.
She's starting a movie company. Make that movie. I will actually watch that movie just to laugh. Okay. Anyway, we've come to the end of the show. Hope you like it. You can go grab the podcast on all the platforms. All of our social media links are at our website, which is bybpod.com. If you go there, we post all of the past episodes, all the ways to grab the show. Amazon affiliate link. John, what about that?
Hey, Christmas is coming. You got to do your shopping. But you don't want to get out there with all these crazy people sneezing and coughing all over you. Do it on Amazon. But before you do that, go to bybpod.com. Click our Amazon affiliate link. Helps the show. Doesn't cost you a dime. And God will love you more if you do that.
Yeah, you heard that from John's lips to God's ears. There we go. But with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, for checking it out, for downloading it, for streaming it, for telling your friends about it. Also, real quick, go check out, if you want to hear more of me talking, Cobras and Fire podcast that I'm on dropped yesterday. So just search Cobras and Fire. All the links are on our social medias. Go check it out. With all that being said, John, is there anything else?
Don't blame yourself when you can blame your brother.
What's he talking about?